Hello everybody and welcome to my championship predictions video for the upcoming 2021-22 championship campaign. I'm going to go through the league, how I predict it to play out over the course of the next 46 games, from the bottom right to the top, and then just to give you a cheeky little bonus, I'll chuck my playoff winners in there as well. Notoriously, the championship is very, very hard to predict. So in 9 months' time, when we revisit this, and I've got 0 right, do not be surprised one bit. Okay then, here we go. In case you're unaware of the way the table looks in the championship, the first and second place teams go up to the Premier League automatically. Third, fourth, fifth and sixth compete in the playoffs, with third place facing sixth place and fourth facing fifth in the semi-finals. Then the final is the winner of those two. The winner of that gets promoted to the Premier League with the top two. Then the bottom three, 22nd, 23rd and 24th place teams all get relegated to League One. Let's start with those three teams then. And I have gone for, in 24th place, Derby County. I think this will be a very popular prediction amongst Championship fans, because this Derby side are an absolute mess. Wayne Rooney is much more effective for them on the pitch, but when they sacked Philip Cocu, they had to go for Wayne Rooney as the manager because that's the project. But because the performance under Cocu wasn't great, they had to take a risk and they had to bring this project forward a few more years, which is not what they'd have wanted at all. They've brought nobody in. I believe there's some sort of restrictions on them, an embargo. Reading have got something similar, so have Hull City. And they've let a lot of players go. Got rid of Scott Malone, Jack Marriott, Florian Josefroon. Scott Carson has gone to Man City permanently. He's not even a loan player anymore. Curtis Davis has been released, but he's still training with the club because they can't bring anyone in. So I imagine he's going to be brought back into the fold on a free. Martin Waghorn's left, a brilliant goal scorer in the bottom ends of the championship. And Jordan Ibe has had his contract cancelled with Derby. The next Raheem Sterling he was supposed to be. And I think after all of that, I can very, very firmly say Derby will be in. They will be bringing up the bottom of the Premier League. Not the Premier League. They'll be bringing up the bottom. Absolutely not the Premier League. They'll be bringing up the bottom of the Championship. Then in 23rd, I've gone for Huddersfield Town. Interesting one, this. Because they've brought in John Rhodes, who's historically a fantastic goal scorer in the Championship, but he was in a Sheffield Wednesday team last season, allergic to goals. He's not getting any younger, and I think that's the reason why. That's the reason why he won't score any goals for them. And they're a very uninspiring team. They've just got rid of Christopher Schindler, Tommy Elphick, Alex Pritchard's gone, got rid of Umar Niasse, and Yaya Sanogo's gone as well. That's what a name that is. And yeah, they're just really uninspiring for me, and I don't think they'll do really anything of note in the new season, and I think they're quite a popular choice to go down as well. And then my final relegated team is Blackpool. This one's interesting because they've made some fantastic signings. Dan Grimshaw from Man City, Reece James, just looking down my list here, Reece James on a free from Doncaster, Josh Bowler, former City lad, in from Everton. Oliver Casey, who was a Hull City target a few years ago, has come in from Leeds. Callum Connolly's come in from Everton. Tyrese John Jules on loan from Arsenal. Richard Keogh in, an experienced head who will definitely help any team out if he starts when you play Blackpool. And they've not really lost anyone either. They've got rid of Sully Kakai. But other than that, there's not really anything. I think they'll surprise a few people with the way they play under Neil Critchley. Jerry Yates will bang in a few goals as he did last season. A big loss for them, though, is Josh Sims. He's gone back to Everton from his loan. And yeah, I just think it'll be tight between Blackpool and the teams I've got 21st, 20th and 19th. But I just don't think Blackpool will have the edge, really. Right, the mid-section of the table now. We're going to go from 21st up to about 14th. Well, yeah, we'll go 21st up to 14th, and I'll just talk you through my thinking very briefly for all of them. So in 21st, I've gone for Coventry. Now, they had a very decent season last year. They're going back to their old/new/old, whatever you want to call it, home. And they're a decent side. They've just brought in Martin Waghorn, who, as I said, for Derby, is a very decent goal scorer in the bottom end of the Championship. Ben Sheaf from Arsenal is consistent. Whether it's good or bad, we'll find out. Remember the name Brighton Abakare from Wolves? He's come in on a free from East Bengal. Then they've brought in Victor Gyökeres. I think that's how you say it. In from Brighton. Simon Moore, backup goalkeeper from Sheffield United. I do think they'll have some sort of second season syndrome. But it won't be a bad season for them by any means. They're sustaining Championship football. It's a sustained revenue flow. And they can build on 2 successive years in the Championship going into the following season after I think they'll stay up this. In 20th, I've gone for my boys, Hull City. Now, if you're watching this channel, you're probably a Hull City fan, so you probably know all I'm about to say. But from when we were last in the Championship, we've got rid of sort of that losing core. There was a core of players who didn't want to be at the club, it seemed, from the outside looking in. We've got rid of that now. We've got young lads, local lads, who want to play for the club, want to play for the badge, want to play for the shirt. We've got 2 banging kits, plus an absolutely smashing goalkeeper kit. And some decent signings as well. Ryan Longman should be a decent backup option along the front line. So should Randall Williams, Andy Cannon and George Monka reinforcing that central midfield area. And Nathan Baxter, backup goalkeeper from Chelsea, very highly rated, and if Matt Ingram isn't performing to standard, there's definitely the option to bring him in as our number 1 because he's got the ability to do so. Outgoings, we've lost Reece Burke, who by the end of last season was a backup option. George Long, who by the end of last season was firmly a backup option. Other than that, no real big misses. Jordi Device has gone to QPR. We didn't miss him. Second half of last season when he was gone. Jacob Greaves can kick on. Keane Lewis Potter, I think, will rip up the division, score some decent goals. So will Malik Wilkes. If we can get Josh McGuinness firing, we could finish higher than 20th. But that is my very brief overview of City. And that leaves only one of the newly promoted teams, and I'm putting them in 19th place. That is Peterborough United. The signings they have made, incredible. Jack Marriott, we wanted him from Derby. They got him. George Grant from Lincoln is a fantastic signing. Josh Knight is supposedly fairly decent from Leicester. And yeah, that's great. They've not lost anyone. They've got Johnson Clark-Harris, League One's top scorer last year. There's no reason they can't build on what they did last season. Only real player they've lost is Mo Issa, who's gone to MK Dons in League One, but he was a backup option anyway, and they've brought in Jack Marriott to replace him in backup striker. Yeah, very, very decent. Then, in 18th place, I've gone for Nottingham Forest. I'm just going to say, if it's one consolation for you lads, you're ahead of Derby. Nobody brought in, as far as I'm aware. In fact, no, Ethan Hovarth from Club Bruges on a free. I don't know anything about them. They've lost a lot of key players. Glenn Murray's retired. Ribeiro's gone. Sammy Amiobi's gone. Samba So's gone. Michael Hefferley's gone. And they've brought very little in. They've got a lot of dead wood. Jack Colback. Lewis Graben, I think, still there. They've got a lot of dead wood. Bryce Samba's a great goalkeeper, but what can you do when you've got a load of dead wood in front of you? 18th for Forest, and as I say, only consolation is that you're ahead of Derby and they're going down. That's all I can really, really say for Nottingham Forest. And then in 17th, I've gone for Bristol City. They're just a Leicester side from 2014-15. Brought in Matty James, brought in Andy King, linked with Robert Huth. Rob Atkinson's a very good signing from Oxford, but they've again released a lot of players. Jack Hunt's gone, Liam Walsh has gone, Famara Diayayayayu, Chris Kamara. Henry Lansbury's gone, but he was pretty past it anyway. Adrian Mariappa's gone, an experienced head who again wasn't great. They've released Hakeem Adelkin, but he's gone to Lincoln. We wanted him. And yeah, I don't see much progression. They've got a good manager in Nigel Pearson, but I don't see much progression from that side. And then I've gone in 16th for Preston, who Hull City play on the opening day. The squad is just very average, I'd say. I'd just say it's very, very average. It's not getting any younger. They've brought in Sepp van den Berg again from Liverpool, Liam Lindsay from Stoke, Izzy Brownlow free from Chelsea, and Ola Sunday from Rotherham, who was half decent, I think, last season from what I watched of Rotherham, which was very little. And David Nugent's cleared off, so that's something. And they've got rid of Jayden Stockley permanently, but Paul Gallagher's retired. He was a very impressive player for Preston over the time I've watched him when we've been in the Championship over these past few years. And yeah, the squad just doesn't really scream can push for playoffs anymore like it did a few years ago. In 15th place, I have gone for Barnsley. They're going to have a dramatic fall from grace from last season. They've lost the manager, Ishmael. He's gone to West Brom. We'll see where I put them in just a moment. The signings, Devante Cole from Motherwell, no. Obi Olare, formerly of Watford from Standard Liège, doesn't really scream gonna score goals. Josh Benson from Burnley, I don't even know who he is. Alex Mowa's gone, their captain. Connor Chaplin's gone. And they've lost that striker whose name has slipped my mind. Big guy. Was very, very good at firing goals in for them. And yeah, Barnsley just going to drop off massively as far as I'm aware. Rotherham next. Reading in 14th. Again, another team who had a very good season last year, but are going to fall off. They've lost Elise. They've let Richards go. They're under an embargo, and they seem to not want to bring anyone in. From what I've seen, it's a clubbing crisis. They've not brought anyone in. Sam Baldock's gone, who, let's face it, wasn't great for them. They've got rid of former Hull City cult hero Shoni Aluko. And yeah, 8.4 million for Michael Elise is shocking. Nothing for Omar Richards. The potential that both of those players have got, the ability they've got already to get just 8.4 million combined for the two of them, considering one of them's gone to Bayern Munich and one of them to the Premier League. That's not very good at all. I can predict Reading having quite a big drop-off. They've still got Ovie Ejeria and Lucas João, but without Elise, it does make you wonder, what might they be like? Might they fall back into the mid-table nothingness that they were before the Elise Ejeria partnership started booming last season? And you know what? I'll give you 13th place as well. Why not? In 13th, we've got Birmingham City. Now, Birmingham have made some decent signings. I've predicted them to have a massive gain when you consider where they were last season, scrapping for relegation over the last few games. Now, I'm just trying to find where they are on my little sheet where I've got all the signings and notes I've made. There we go. Lukas Jutkiewicz is still a brilliant striker. Riley McGree is back in. Ryan Wood's a decent signing from Stoke. Jordan Graham from Gillingham's a good signing, as is Chuks Anike from Charlton. They've got Juan Castillo from Chelsea, a very good centre-back. Tahith Chong on loan from Man United is a fantastic, fantastic signing. And Dion Sanderson on loan from Wolves as well. That's a very good deal. He was impressive for Sunderland in League One last year. Birmingham will rise up the table, won't push for playoffs and go up like people think they were, like people think they will in my book, because all the players they've brought in, they'll take time to gel. But I can see them having a fairly decent season. Okay, then next up we're going to go from 12th all the way up to 7th, just missing out on the playoffs. First of all, in 12th, I've got Blackburn Rovers, not brought anyone in yet. But they've got the goals of Adam Armstrong. He was the league's second highest scorer last year in a team that finished about 14th place. Yes, they've lost Harvey Elliott, but the goals of Armstrong, if they can sort the defence out, those goals could help propel them up the table. I think the defence will get a little bit better, but not substantially. That's all I'm going to say. In 11th, we've got Stoke. Basically, bang smack in the middle. It just defines the words Stoke City, doesn't it? Brought in Ben Wilmore from Watford and Mario Vrancic from Norwich. Lost Kevin Bimmer. Remember him? Liam Lindsay's gone, so was Nathan Collins. He's a very good centre-back, a lot of potential. Liam Lindsay's gone as well, as I touched on earlier. Lost the experience of John Obi Mikel. Moritz Bauer, who they brought in when they were in the Premier League, has finally left to FC Ufa in Russia. Benica Fobe's left again. Bruno Martins Indy, who they signed in the Premier League as well, has gone to AZ Alkmaar. Badu and Dai, who I believe is a club record signing. It's either him or Etebo. Anyway, both of them have left. One to Watford, one to Aris, I don't even know where that is. And Sam Vokes has left to Wycombe Wanderers. They'll be alright. That's all I'm going to say on Stoke. In 10th, Millwall. I believe they were about 10th, 11th-ish last season. And I can see them... if they were... whereabouts did they finish, actually? Hold on a sec. After some VAR decisions, so a VAR review from the guys at Stockley Park, Millwall finished 11th last season, so I think there will be an element of progression at the Den. George Long, brought in from us on a free, will be a decent backup goalkeeper for them. Scott Malone from Derby. Daniel Ballard on loan from Arsenal's a very decent signing. George Saville from Middlesbrough's a decent signing as well, as is Benica Fobe on loan. In terms of who they've lost, they've not really lost anyone of note. So I can see, as I said, that progression just continuing. Slow and steady will win the race for Millwall. In 9th place, I have gone for Queen's Park Rangers. They've brought in a lot of players. They've brought in Charlie Austin, club legend, you couldn't really say for him. Jordi Device on a permanent from Hull City. Andre Dazelle from Ipswich, who could be half decent. Jimmy Dunn at centre-back from Burnley. Jordan Archer, a backup goalkeeper from Middlesbrough. And Stefan Johansson from Fulham. He's got championship experience. That could be fairly decent for them. If you add that quality that they've brought in to Elias Chair, who they've already got there, Bright Asai Samuel, who they've already got there, there's no reason they can't push for playoffs. And in terms of who they've lost, they've not really lost anybody who's really going to massively affect the side. Lost Joe Lumley, goalkeeper. Jeff Cameron has gone on a free back to America with FC Cincinnati. And Macaulay Bonne, that's really it. And was Macaulay Bonne really that great last season? I can't tell you, because I did not watch a single minute of QPR's football last year. But just beating them to 8th place is Middlesbrough. Right. It's the experience of Neil Warnock that gets this. Middlesbrough, they've got rid of Nathaniel Mendes-Lang, Ashley Fletcher. Britta Sombalonga, Marvin Johnson, Lewis Wing, George Saville. Brought in Sammy Amiobi, Lee Peltier, Joe Lumley, Matt Crooks, Uche Ikpeazu, who is fairly decent from Wickham from what I've heard and seen. And it's the experience of Neil Warnock as a manager that I think will pull Middlesbrough through into 8th place. And then in 7th, just missing out on the playoffs, Luton Town made a lot of signings. A lot of impressive signings as well. Reece Burke from Hull City, Onyedinma from Wickham, Alan Campbell's come in from Motherwell. That's a decent signing. Very FIFA career mode football manager signing there. Cameron Jerome can still do it. He was alright for MK Dons last season. Henry Lansbury from Bristol City, again a bit past it. Experienced though to help out the young lads. Carlos Mendes Gomez from Morecambe's a brilliant signing. Amari Bell from Blackburn is a very, very decent coup as well. And that is why I think that they will continue the project they've got under Nathan Jones and manage to finish in 7th, be tantalisingly close to the playoffs. Moving on then to the playoffs. This is where it gets big. Alright? This is where it gets big. We're starting off in 6th place with Swansea City. Okay then, guys. So, a brief little interlude here. Basically, since I've recorded the video, Swansea have announced who their new manager is. And that is a man by the name of Russell Martin from MK Dons. Now, as much as he's a highly rated manager, I do not think very much to the appointment at all. So, this prediction changes. It is instead Queen's Park Rangers finishing 6th, with Luton 7th, Swansea 8th, and Middlesbrough 9th. Cardiff in the table. Cardiff, right, let me read you this. James Collins on a free from Luton. That's a big loss for Luton, a big signing for Cardiff. That means they've got Kiefer Moore and James Collins both up top together. That is very, very decent. Sol Bamba has left. Junior Hoylett's left. Robert Glatzel. I think, is he a Liverpool? No, that's Paul Glatzel, isn't it? I remember that name, Robert Glatzel, from somewhere. He's gone. Ryan Wintle from Crewe Alexandra is a name I recognise from last season. He was pretty decent. And I think that will be enough. That'll be all they need to push up into 5th place. Sheffield United are who I've got in 4th. I think if they can keep sort of the core of their squad together, they have the quality to go up. All they've lost is Phil Jagielka, John Lundstrom. That's really it. Simon Moore, backup goalkeeper. Jack Rodwell, forgot he was still there. Slavicia Kanovic knows the Championship, and I think they will manage playoffs. So it's a massive drop being bottom of the Premier League by such a distance, but I think they'll be able to mentally pick themselves back up from that. And my surprise package of the season will be Ryan Brewster. He loves the Championship. He did great. He was brilliant with Swansea a few years ago, and I think he can do it again with Sheffield United. In 3rd place, there's only 3 teams left now. I have gone for Bournemouth. Lost Asmir Begovic, yes. But they've brought in Emiliano Marcondes. What a signing from Brentford. New manager in Scott Parker. I back Bournemouth. I'm backing Bournemouth to impress this season. David Brooks is still there. If Solanke can fire, that sounds so bizarre when you think how poor he was in the Premier League a few years ago. But if Dominic Solanke can fire in the goals, that's all I really have to say. Okay then, the top 2. It's Fulham and West Brom left, And in second place, I have gone for Fulham. Fulham are my second place side. New manager in Marco Silva. Harry Wilson's a fantastic signing from them for them from Liverpool. Paulo Gazzaniga as well, replacing the outgoing Alphonse Areola from Tottenham. Who have they lost? Bettinelli. He'd be back up. Kevin McDonald and Stefan Johansson would both be back up as well. I can see Fulham having a very, very good season, but I can see them just falling short of the title, and it's West Brom who will take that. New manager for them as well, in Valerie Ismail, coming in from Barnsley. And the players West Brom have got already there give them a very, very good platform. Sam Johnston, it looks as though he may be prized away though by someone like an Arsenal. At the back, Kieran Gibbs has left. He's gone to Inter Miami. Gibbs, that's a loss. That's a loss, isn't it? Branislav Ivanovic has left as well, but in the midfield, they've got Roman Sawyers, Jake Livermore. Robert Snodgrass, I believe, is still there. Kamil Guzicki, however, on the other wing, his former Hull City counterpart, is not. But Mateus Pereira, what a player. Callum Robinson knows how to score goals in the Championship as well from his time with Preston. And then with the signing of Alex Mowat, impressed with Barnsley last season, he knows how Valerie Ismail works. I can see West Brom winning the Championship this whatever season. And going up through the playoffs, I am going to say that Bournemouth will be the third team promoted and they will go up through the playoffs. Thank you very much for watching this one, everyone. I hope you've enjoyed it. Leave your thoughts in the comments down below. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new as well, and I will see you very, very soon for another Championship video about my boys, because that's what I do. That's what I do. See you later, everyone. Goodbye.